Hi again, we are going to continue with our classes, and by this time we are going to consider some question formation. And this question formation is questions within sentences or questions within other sentences. So in this case, we get this idea. You remember what questions are, right? In a question, we use auxiliary verbs, we use some regular formation, but there are two kinds of questions. Simple questions are the ones that require only short answers, yes or no. Are you happy? Yes. Do you have brothers or sisters? No, I don't. Did you take vacations last year? Yes, I did. Have you ever played golf? No, I haven't. On the other hand, we have the information questions. The information questions are those who require information, complete information. Like, for example, who is your father? My father is Carlos. When do you usually go on picnic? On Saturdays. Where should you go on vacation? I think I should go next year. How long have you studied English? I have studied English for 10 years. So in this case, you give specific information. But what happens if you want to consider these questions inside some other sentence or question? So let's consider this. This is what we call simple questions within questions. Now you have this question that you may think that is simple, but you're going to analyze it now. Do you know if your father is at home now? The original question is your father at home now? But this is not what you are asking. You are asking this question inside, within another question. This is what we call embedded questions. You embed this question into another question. When you want to make these simple questions into another question, you use if or whether, which gives you the idea that this was coming from a simple question. Do you know if your father is at home now? Or would you tell me whether Carlos went to school yesterday or not? So would you tell me? The question that you are asking is, do you know? Would you tell me? In the second question, you have this original question that says, did Carlos go to school yesterday? But this is not what you are asking. You are asking the other person, would you tell me? Or could you inform me if the Smiths have already returned from France? Now, you want to know, have the Smiths already returned from France? But this is not what you're asking. You're asking the other person, would you inform me? That's the real question. And the other is part of the information. As you observe, you can see this question within questions with the question format in the form of a regular sentence. I will explain you more of this. What happens in the case of information questions within questions? You will understand much better this with these examples. Can you tell me where your mother is now? The original question is, where is your mother now? But this is the original question that is coming to a second stage. My principal stage question is, can you tell me? Can you tell me where your mother is now? So that question is not a question anymore. It's constructed like a simple sentence. Could you say what you did last night? The real question is, could you say? That's what we have to respond. The other question is, what did you do last night? But we are not going to ask this in a format of a question. You're going to say, could you say what you did last night? That embedded question has to be in the form of a simple sentence. If it's in the past, the verb in the past. Do you know how long your son has studied English? The original question is, how long has your son studied English? But what we want to know is, do you know? Do you know that information? So we are using how long your son studied English as a piece of regular sentence, not as a question anymore. So that's what we have to consider when we use these questions within questions. And what we have to consider is that the real question in this case is, do you know? Can your mother tell us? Would you say? That's what we have to answer now, not the embedded question. Do you know where the nearest bank is? Yes, I do. And then you give the information. There is one across from the park. But the principal question is, do you know? Can your mother tell us who gave her that box? No, she can't. That's the question. Can your mother tell us? She doesn't know it. Then, if you answer yes or no, you can give the additional information. Would you say if the meeting has already started? Yes, I would. But I prefer not doing so. Would you say? That's the question. Not if the meeting has already started. So would you say, yes, I would? So what you have to consider in this case is that you have to answer the principal question. The rest, you, if you decide, can answer it or cannot answer it. Something else that we have to consider is that we can use these questions within statements. It means it hasn't got to be a question within a question. It can be a question within a sentence. I really don't know where I can go to have some good coffee. I really don't know. That's my statement. I really don't know. Probably the question that I want to say is, where can I get some good coffee? But I really don't know where I can go to have some good coffee. I wonder is I ask myself. I ask myself what she did with the money I gave her. My question, my original question is, what did she do with the money I gave her? But that's not what I want to say. I just wonder because nobody's listening to me or nobody's going to give me the response. So I just wonder. We want to know if you fulfilled your promise. We want to know. Probably you did, probably you didn't. Probably my question is, did you fulfill your promise? But I don't want to be direct. I want to be indirect and I want to say, we want to know. These are forms of rhetorical phrases, something that you express in order not to ask that question directly. In order to say, well, I want to know, I would like to know, I wonder, I ask myself, I guess, I suppose, or something that gives your question an indirect way to be responded. So let's remember, we can embed questions into other questions or sentences, but the information we require is not to be answered directly. If you say, do you know? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Do you know where I am now? Yes, I know. But then you can give the answer. Do you have a clue if there is going to be a new budget for the company next year? Do you have a clue? Do you have an idea? No, I don't. That's enough. No, I don't. But then you give the response. I think everything is going to be the same as usual. Or, I was wondering, I was asking myself if my sister could ride me to school. But I am not really sure if her time would let her do so. I'm not really sure. You have two embedded questions there. I was wondering if my sister could my sister ride me to school? And in the other, if her time would let her do so. Would her time let her do so? But I am expressing something that is rhetorical. I was wondering. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do you know? Can you tell me? Or something like that. So remember, in this case, we have to use these questions within questions or within statements, like indirect ways of asking whatever it is, a simple question or information question. Thank you very much.